Hello, my name is Gabrielle McLean, and I am the fourth grade teacher here at Wagram Elementary School. Today, I am going to be talking about the North Carolina Core Study of Mathematics and the North Carolina Essential Science Standards for your fourth grade child. I am going to be explaining to you exactly what these math standards and these science standards mean for you. It is important that your child understands the fourth grade science standards because when they go to fifth grade, they will have to take the North Carolina end of grade test for fifth grade science. So it is very essential that your child studies and understands the fourth grade science standards because some of those standards are taught in fifth grade. Okay, so it's very important that your child understands and they know about those fourth grade standards to help them to be successful into fifth grade science. Now, we do not offer, or we do not have a fourth grade end of grade test. Normally, what my school does is together as an administrative team, we will put together a test that is just accumulation of what they learned over the course of the school year, and we would give that to them as like a final exam. But I am certain that when they go to fifth grade, they will have to take the North Carolina end of grade test for science. So the North Carolina Essential Standards basically lets us know what your child will be able to understand and what they will be able to do in the fourth grade. So if you look on the screen, I have here an example of a fourth grade standard and an example of a fifth grade standard. Okay, so if you look at the screen over here, the fourth graders will learn 4P1, which talks about forces in motion. Also, the fifth grade will learn 5P.1. They will also learn about force and motion. So both of these standards basically go hand in hand. So when I teach this in fourth grade, students will explain how magnets interact with all things made of iron and with other magnets to produce motion without touching them. When I teach this in fourth grade, students are going to be able to understand that magnets can interact with other things that's made of magnets and that magnets can interact with other things that are made of iron. Okay, so the fact that I teach this in fourth grade will help them for when they get to fifth grade understand that force motion, understand the force, motion, and the relationship between those two things. So they will already be exposed to the vocabulary, the terms of force and motion in the fourth grade. Okay, so if we look at this document here, we see that fourth grade, we do not teach about evolution and genetics, but fifth grade must know about evolution and genetics. They have to understand why organisms differ from or similar to their parents based on the characteristics of the organisms. So you may see that when your child get to fifth grade that they're going to learn different material that was not taught in fourth grade, and that's because the state just didn't recommend that fourth grade will learn about that topic. Okay, so if we go down to this standard down here, molecular biology, structures and functions of living organisms. Okay, so this is telling us that fourth grade science, we're going to be learning about structures and functions of living organisms, just as well as fifth grade. We'll have to learn about it. Okay, so this is just telling us that we're going to be exposed to this, the terms, the vocabulary that fifth grade will see. Some of those terms we will already be exposed to over in fourth grade. How can you help your child? So there are numerous ways that you can help your child become successful with learning about science and being successful and understanding those North Carolina essential science standards. One website that we do in class and that you can do at home is called Study Island. So our school already has brought the subscription for the year. So your child already has the username and the password to log into Study Island. But Study Island is very, very very helpful. It is one of the recommended websites that I would recommend that your child go to. Study Island. It also, one thing that I like about Study Island is that it already those essential standards that we talked about earlier. Those standards are already inside of Study Island. So if I assign my students an assignment from Standard 4L 1.3, it's going to automatically just give you some assignments to work on based on that standard. So I totally agree, and I totally love Study Island. Another website that we do is BrainPop. Students can go to BrainPop. They can watch videos, play educational games, work on vocabulary, all inside of BrainPop. And they already know their information to get inside of BrainPop. And BrainPop is very helpful because it talks about different contents and skills. For example, we may talk about rocks one day. We may talk about fossils the next week. We may talk about organisms. And all your child have to do is go to BrainPop and put in organisms or put in types of rocks, and those videos will start popping up. So the BrainPop is also another helpful website that they can go to. Quizlet is very good for covering vocabulary. So when the students are struggling or need more support with understanding the vocab terms for our lesson that we're talking about, Quizlet is a great resource. Inside of Quizlet, I would normally post the Quizlets to their Google Classroom, where they would just go in and just go to that Quizlet that I assigned to them. But Quizlet is very good with understanding vocabulary terms. It has like different activities that they can do, like a writing activity, like a matching, a little test that it gives them on those vocabulary terms. So Quizlet and Study Island and BrainPop are some of the ones that I would definitely recommend. And also, there's a website called Flocabulary, which also focuses on vocabulary. So once again, we have BrainPop, we have Study Island, we have Flocabulary, and we have Quizlet. Okay, so now that we have talked about the North Carolina Essential Standards for Science, we're going to move over into the North Carolina course of study for mathematics. Okay, so for fourth grade, there are 5 domains that math curriculum is organized into. Okay, so we have the operations and algebraic thinking. We have the number and operations in base 10, numbers and operations using fractions, measurements and data, and we have geometry. So inside of all five of these domains, they included problem solving strategies. Okay, so all of North Carolina state standards and objectives is going to be covered within these 5 domains. Your child will be assessed at the end of the school year by taking the North Carolina end of grade 4th grade test for mathematics. The test is just an accumulation of what they have learned throughout the school year. So if we look at this document that we have on the screen, one standard that is being taught is coming from standard 4N BT.6. Now this standard falls under the domain of numbers and operations in base 10, which we have talked about in the previous slide. So for this standard, students have to find a whole number, quotients, and remainder with up to 4-digit divisions and 1-digit divisors, using strategies based on place value, the properties of operations, and or the relationship between multiplication and division. So the students must be able to illustrate and explain the calculation by using equations, rectangular arrays, and or area models. Okay, so during the end of grade test, your child will be ranked on whether they are level 1, which means they have limited performance. They are level 2, which means they are not yet proficient, or level 3, which is proficient in performance, meaning that the student uses at least 2 different types of ways to divide multiple digit numbers accurately. Okay, so All of this just falls under your child studying, your child doing what their teacher asks them to do as far as their work, and your child just coming to school with a focused mindset. So, as being their teacher, it is just my job to give this instruction to them the best way and the most effective way that I know how to, so that your child may be able to receive it and to put the instruction and the skill in play. So we've seen in the previous slide that in order for a student to be proficient, they must know how to multiply or divide more than one way. So in this anchor chart, we see here that students must be able to multiply multiple ways. So it shows us that multiplication can be done more than one way. And I know that when you was coming up in school, that you guys probably know the standard way to multiply. But here, students should know how to multiply by using the area model, or by using, which is way one, by using the partial products. Okay, so 389 times 5. So they will have to break down that 389 by the hundreds, 300 times 5, by the tens, 80 times 5, and by the ones, 9 times 5. And then at the end, they will just total all of those sums up together, and that will give them their multiplication answer. Or they can do the area model, which you guys can see that we teach them that way by using the box method. It is very important that you, as the parent, play your role in your child becoming successful in fourth grade. Utilizing those resources that I listed in our science portion of the presentation, those resources also help in math. We have Study Island. It also produces the standards that your child is covering. It produces those standards and give you activities based off of that standard. Another one that I have not mentioned was Khan Academy. KHAN Academy, Khan Academy. Khan Academy is a wonderful resource that produces activities, examples, and questions to your child, test like questions for your child on its website. Brain Pop as well, Quizlet, quizzes. When it comes to the vocabulary, the terms, you may find those on Quizlet as well, and Flocabulary. So there are tons of resources that can support your child and knowing these standards that they have to cover for their grade level. There are bukus of videos on YouTube of different people that teach and explain these concepts and skills for your child. So there are tons of information that's out there. All you have to do is just play your role as the parent to help your child to become successful. I thank you guys for watching my presentation. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you. Have a nice day.